Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a lap guide for the newish lap time challenge taking place at Watkins Glen Short with the Alfa Romeo 155. So this online time trial is currently over in sport mode, where this event goes on until the end of October 9, 2024. We're using medium BOP for this Alfa Romeo 155. We're under racing hard tires, and no, you cannot tune your car. Your goal is to go within the 3% time range of the world record time when the event ends, as that is when your lap time gets counted, and hopefully you'll be able to get to 2 million credits. But let's go ahead and get started with the lap guide. Alright, so as we get started with the lap, you do want to be careful about touching the walls, which the end of the final turn, there's a wall, so you don't want to touch it because that will invalidate your lap time. But anyways, bring yourself towards the left side of the track because your first braking point is just before the 200 feet board. So you're going to use all of your braking power and gradually make your way down to third gear. So right here, using all of your braking power, braking in a straight line, and before the wall on the left ends, that is where you start to turn in and make your way down to third gear if you haven't done so yet. So going down to third gear, you'll get a bit more rotation, and there is a brief moment where I'm not using any braking nor throttle input. This is to let the car turn in a bit more, and I'll start to get on the throttle just before I enter this curb. And by doing that, I'm able to get a slightly faster exit out of turn number 1. Luckily for these S's, this is a really easy flat out section, so you just want to make sure that you're being smooth with your turning inputs so you don't lose too much momentum. Then bring yourself towards the left because your next braking point is just before you pass the Marshall stand that is on the left. You're going to use around 80 to 85% of your braking power for a short moment because you're going to start to turn towards the right almost right away and start to ease off of the brakes. Do be careful with this curb on the right because it is possible to get the car to bounce in just the wrong way where the car unsettles itself. So at least here, I barely use any throttle or braking input when I'm going over the curb. But just as you clear that curb, go down to fourth gear, then turn left, and you want to be really careful with your throttle input so you don't go off the track. Now, just as the curb on the right starts, that's where you start to ease off of the throttle, use a bit of your braking power. So I'm talking around 20 to 25% braking power, just trying to bring the car in towards the right and not lose too much momentum. And do note where I'm starting to get back on the throttle. So this is way before the Marshall stand that is on the right. So right here, I'm going back at full throttle power, and I'm able to clear this turn without too much of a fuss. Now bring yourself towards the right, and your next braking point is just before the 200 feet board that is on the right. You're going to use around 75% of your braking power for a really brief moment and start to turn in almost immediately after, so you can try to maintain your momentum. So 75%, then start to ease off of the brakes, hit the apex, get back on the throttle, take advantage of the curves as you're still within track limits, bring yourself towards the left, and you're going to try to brake right when the grass on the right starts. This one's a bit tricky because it is really easy to overshoot this turn. So you're going to stay on fourth gear, use a little over 50% braking power for a brief moment, and right as you hit the apex, that's when you get back on the throttle, and if you're able to do it just right, you will not hit the wall and get a decent exit. But now let's go through this again, but this time I will not stop the video. So I'll be in chase cam for now, and then I'll show the bumper cam shortly after. Now for turn number 1, brake before the 200 feet board. And I think turn number 1 is a bit underrated in how important it is to get it right, because if you get it wrong, then you're losing quite a bit of time. Even as you're going up the S's into the back straight, you're still losing time from turn number 1, and that was about ages ago at this point. Now bring yourself towards the left, brake before the Marshall stand, and start to turn in almost immediately after. Go down to fourth gear as you make the left turn, little bit of throttle control, as you want to make sure that you don't go off the track. A little bit of braking through this long right turn, just trying to maintain your momentum but bring yourself towards the right. And well, now go ahead and bring yourself towards the right. You're looking for the 200 feet board, as that is your next braking point. Go down to 4th gear, get back on the throttle, take advantage of the curbs, brake when the grass on the right starts. You can stay on 4th gear for the final turn, get back on the throttle, get close and comfortable with the wall on the left. And that is it for this lap. And we'll go through it one more time, but this time in bumper cam. So here we go. And again, bring yourself towards the left, brake before the 200 feet board, and go down to 3rd gear to get that additional rotation. Especially important for turn number 1, because if you get a good exit, then you're going to gain quite a bit of time, even as you're going to the S's into the back straight, as turn number 1 affects how fast you're going through all these sections. So yeah, I think turn number 1 pretty underrated. It deserves a bit of love and attention. But anyways, brake before the marshal stand on the left, and wait a while before you go down to 4th gear. Right about now, go on 4th gear, a bit of throttle control, and then you want to be a bit careful with this turn. Really easy to overshoot it, so use just a little bit of your braking power to stay towards the right. And then, well, once again, bring yourself towards the right, looking for the 200 feet board that is on the right, as that is your next braking point, and you're turning in almost right away. Stay on 4th gear for the final corner, brake when the grass on the right starts, and back on the throttle, getting close and comfortable with the wall on the left. And that is it for this lap guide. So I'm gonna go ahead and go now. Take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.